Hello, everyone. So Helgard from Rehive. I'm curious, who of you have actually heard of Rehive so far? Yeah. A few of you, and then, okay, cool. I've met a few people that's tried it out, and that's cool to see, and all about sharing a bit more. I really like this topic of this conference, urgency of doing, and maybe to give you a bit of a backstory. In 2015, my co-founder Michal and I, we started building Bitcoin apps, and we were really surprised by how much you actually, while we were excited about what Bitcoin had to offer and being able to build on a money protocol without having to ask anyone permission, we were really surprised by how much you had to build yourself on the application layer. And around about that time, Michal ran an e-commerce store selling calculators on university campus. And it was convenient to use like something like Shopify to set up your store, and you didn't have to build anything yourself. And we thought, why doesn't that layer exist for financial products? What if it was just easy to slap on your brand and launch a product without having to build all those pieces yourself? So in 2016, we founded Rehive. So we've been around for a while. And throughout this journey, I actually look at my calendar and how many meetings I've had with other fintech founders. And it turns out to be like over 200 fintech founders. And what I found interesting was they all have these two commonalities. And it might also be a little bit biased in terms of how they find us online and the type of profiles we meet. But the one commonality is that they were really compelled to start a fintech business due to something happening in their personal life. Maybe like hyperinflation, wiping out savings, or maybe like exorbitant sort of money transfer fees, or getting not a good deal on a student loan or something like that. So that level of urgency and wanting to solve this problem is quite high. And then the other thing that we found is the type of founders we meet does not have the resources or in many cases the skill to build their own financial product, to actually develop the technologies. And this is particularly the case outside of the US. And so basically, what we've created is a fintech app builder. It is, with that in mind, making it easy for other people to launch financial products without having to reinvent the wheel, doing it themselves. And we call it a fintech app builder, but for some people it's easier to understand as like a white label wallet provider. To get to the point, with meeting these founders, essentially, there's all these financial needs out there, but there's not actually enough people to go and build the technology themselves. It's expensive to build from scratch. It takes long. And with this theme of urgency of doing, what we've seen is the first wave of fintechs that's come along have been able to raise significant funding to be able to take on a winner-takes-all strategy. So they are perhaps trying, it's similar to the dot-com bubble. Some of them might come out as the next Amazon. But with this next wave of fintechs, we believe it's going to have to be more localized, more specific, and they wouldn't want to be able to build things from scratch themselves. So it's very, very similar to what Shopify has done for e-commerce. We're looking to do for financial services. And the timing is really exciting because you have to have a lot of these fundamental infrastructure in place for this to be viable. So it used to be the thing where, and in many countries it's still the case, but where you don't have to, where compliance is the hard part, licensing is the hard part. But that's actually changed in the last 12 months, 18 months, where through banking as a service or through various providers, you can solve that part. And then also the momentum with interoperability, whether it is on the Stellar network or even just moving from cash to crypto, that momentum is quite significant, making it viable to slot on an application layer as a service. And so we started this model of Shopify without having to build it all yourself. We refer to it as the application layer on top of the fintech stack. And it's all just to drive down the cost of having to get started, and also the time to market. And you can imagine that a big part of this, building a fintech application layer, is figuring out what type of use case is a good starting point. And in our case, it's very much been inspired with the original ideas we thought of would be interesting building on the Bitcoin protocol, which is very much payments orientated. So the type of capabilities Rehive offer as a full white label solution is You can do peer-to-peer payments, so send and request payments, buy and sell currencies. You can do in-app purchases. And it's all about building revenue-generating features from day one. So if a client launches on Rehive, there's opportunity for them to make money from the start. But the building blocks is essentially there's the core Rehive platform, which is a ledger system, a user management system, and then an authentication system. And then an extensions framework, which is similar to what Shopify has done with their app store. So third parties can build their own integrations or value-added capabilities. And then the application layer, we've done quite a lot of effort around this, creating a framework that makes it easy to tap into standards when it comes to various flows. So you can imagine if you want to do something like a currency conversion, to do a quote, and then do the actual confirmation of the conversion flow. So making it easy for you to rebrand it with your own look and feel if you want to go that far, but it's not necessary. But there's a framework to work with. It's multi-language, so it supports multiple languages, and highly customizable on iOS, Android, and web. And just to latch on the previous point of it becoming so much easier to start a fintech business, a lot of that has been made possible really thanks to providers like Wire. What makes Wire interesting and our integration with Wire, what makes it interesting is they take care of compliance from the start. So they do the customer verification and our clients doesn't have to do any integrations themselves. They also do the actual custody of the assets, both in the US and then in international markets. And then the on and off ramps, which is exciting. And then not only that, they also allow us to do brokerage services. So this means when clients go live on Rehive plus Wire, you can, from day one, make money on just people being able to buy and sell currencies from the white label app. And then Stellar has always been very key to aligns very strongly with what we're trying to solve, and I think with a lot of the people in the room here as well. And we like to say it's not just financial inclusion, but kind of innovation inclusion. Rehive tries to make it easy for someone to actually build the application on the Stellar network and go after a use case they care about. And it's still early. As you can see, 25 projects. We're really proud of the 25 projects, and our team is actually here at the conference as well. So if you guys want to get an in-person demo, you should catch them, although it is the last day. But yeah, exciting what's to come next. We've brought down the cost essentially significantly. So instead of having to spend $250,000 building it all yourself, and maybe obviously if you're technical founders, you're investing your own time building it. So we find, having spoken to so many founders, that's about what it costs and what it takes to launch a Cash App like at least MVP. Brought it out to a monthly fee. At the moment, we're running a campaign where the first 3 months you actually don't pay the subscription fee, and you can launch and test out without having to do all that upfront. And for us, a roadmap, I think, is a common theme. If I speak to some of you also building consumer-facing products, there's a strong need we're adding Wire's international on and off ramps. This means being able to buy crypto with a bank transfer or withdrawing from a crypto balance to a bank account in over 100 countries. And then a strong theme is we started out with custodial wallets primarily because the clients we work with is going after a market where they aren't at the level to be able to do self-custody. But with recent innovations in terms of user experiences, of not having the user not having to understand the complexities of private key management, it's becoming more and more viable for us to add a non-custodial component. And we're taking the approach where it would be a hybrid wallet solution. So there will be custodial accounts as well as non-custodial accounts within the same application. But it has to have these 3 requirements. Essentially, our clients ask for multi-assets, so multiple chain support for non-custodial. And then also it has to be easy to flip between devices. So it shouldn't be needed to write down the private key and switch over to a different device. And then I'll maybe just move on a little bit. And then branded cards is still a very popular request that we are looking into and have on our roadmap. And then opening up the extension marketplace. It's actually available for people to already build on the extension marketplace, and we have around 12 extensions that's not been developed by us, but been done by another provider. But it's not like publicly launched, but you can check it out if you want. It's an opportunity to do something interesting in your local market, being able to whether it's KYC integrations or value-added capabilities that get slapped on top of the platform. But to jump into a case study example, whoa, I went too far. So we have essentially three types of clients. Majority of our clients are early stage fintechs, like I've mentioned in the beginning. They're all over the world, 10 different countries, more than 10 countries at this point, going after cash app-like use cases. But then we also have marketplaces, and marketplaces generally try to move into financial services. So you imagine like Uber or Airbnb, instead of paying out to a bank account and losing that customer, they're looking to hold that customer under their own umbrella and start offering them financial products. And then we also have some anchors, and this is still in early conversations getting into the anchor space, but it's just a complementary application to issuers or anchors on particularly the Stellar network to just reinforce your branding or open some revenue channels that you would have had to build quite a lot to be able to tap into. What I really like about Open Grants is it resonates with this theme of urgency. They are a grant matching platform. So Dale from Open Grants has extensive experience in government grants and allocation of these grants. And with the frustration of sort of the bureaucracy or the friction in that process, he started Open Grants as a solution. And essentially, they just use Rehive to do payouts. It's in a pilot phase. They do payouts to the end user. And from there, they open additional revenue channels where the user can buy and sell currencies from the app and being able to withdraw to their own bank account through the wire rails. They can, it's opportunity for them to retain the customer under their own branding, and in the future then offer them additional financial services. There's a little demo there at the back that I didn't squeeze in here as a actual little video, but you should check it out there. I think it's the first stand. Thank you.